So we are going on, I'm making this video. We are over 36 hours since I last had a meal. Really, I think in the last 36 hours, I had some broth that was, I think, a total of 60 calories. So I think in the last 36 hours, a bunch of water and some broth. And here's what I've noticed is that I don't have to eat as much as I thought I had to eat. I don't mean that by I don't mean to say I don't need calories or this. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that I thought that day 2, day 3. I don't know. I've heard people say, well, fasting after a couple days, your body goes into these different settings, whatever. Still, this idea that the massive desire to eat and the fact that you're gonna, at some point you'll get to where it's just not that bad. Well, I thought that was kind of a lie. But I'm 2 days in, and while this has been quite difficult, that light there was for extra emphasis. Did you like how I did that? No, stop doing that. Okay, there we go. Well, it has been quite difficult. It's been interesting because I sort of blew through when breakfast and lunch normally are today without really realizing it, except that Kate brought me up that broth this afternoon for lunch. And I was just like, oh yeah, it is about time to eat. I have this feeling of hunger, but not like I'm starving. And I thought I was just going to feel horribly weak, right? The body was going to shut down kind of a thing. But that's just not the case. It's really not. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say as I'm laying down in front of the camera. I just, wanted the nice lighting and decided to lay down. There's no reason for this. There's no reason for this. But I thought the reaction was going to be much stronger and that it was going to be much more difficult and kind of painful. And while it's not easy, today has been not very easy. And I've had a headache for a lot of the day, but it hasn't been like an awful headache. It's one of those things that it's really showing me that I've never really pushed myself to some limits. I've never really seen what happens when I push past the uncomfortable stages. I've just sort of let myself get up to that stage and go, I'm good. Let's go back to being comfortable again. And this is an interesting exercise for me to do. To just tell my body, no, you can do it. You're fine. So the goal is to make it all the way to tomorrow night. I was thinking about adding extra days because there's actually some really interesting research into some of the really strong health benefits of fasting. But I don't know that I'm actually going to do that, at least not this time. I think 3 days is a pretty good place to start. So, yeah, I think I'm going to try to probably stop tomorrow night, trying to make it all the way through there. And it's just going to be crazy, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So, anyway, I've learned some interesting things about myself over the last 2 days and just sort of what I can and can't get away with and can and can't get away with, can and can't do, can and can't push through. And anybody who's interested in some interesting potential science on fasting, there's an Amazon Prime, there's a documentary on that called The Science of Fasting, I believe. It's quite good. It's quite interesting, and it maybe answers some of the questions as to why it's not like a heavily done thing here and why it's not talked about a lot. And it just mentions that there's no money behind it, really, not a ton, and not really any money behind it, because there's not a ton of incentive for drug companies to look into all of the benefits of fasting, because it's like, well, if fasting could help you with a bunch of different things, you wouldn't need our drugs. But there's also some interesting potential benefits when it's paired with cancer treatment, which is interesting. And there is some funding into that, so I'll be curious to see how that goes. Anyway, enough on all that. That's it for today. Fasting is going good, though. I'm curious to see how I'm going to feel tomorrow, because I know there's different stages you get into, and I think tomorrow is supposed to be potentially this little more super clear-headed, euphoric stage. We'll see. If tomorrow's video is real weird, that might be why. All right, that's it. I will see y'all tomorrow.